Hello everyone, today is 20th of May, now it's 15 past 9 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment. Although before I start, let me take a couple of minutes and first of all apologize that I was unable to make a live stream yesterday. I wrote a post in our community page about it and also on my Telegram channel. Point is that, and as many of you noticed, yesterday's update was quite early. I did it because I had to go to Moscow with my older daughter. She is applying for university this year, and one of the universities had an open day yesterday, and future students had opportunity to get know to professors of the university, to receive some answers on major questions, how study programs are developed, what is going on in the university, when exams are taking place, and what points are necessary to be eligible to apply for this university, and many other questions. And it was important. So yes, we went to a university, receive answers that we were expecting, and well, overall I will say expression that this university left very positive. For a reason, this university is one of the best in the country and one of the best in the world. So yes, it was interesting, and that's why, by the way, I had to make yesterday's first update earlier, and when we come back to Dmitrov, it was quite late and I had no time to prepare for a live stream, so therefore there was no live stream yesterday. Sorry for that. Next live stream will be on the channel on Wednesday. And I already received one question through Boosty from one of the member of our community, and I will start Wednesday's live stream with that question. And of course, if I will receive some questions from our community through PayPal, Boosty, or on Patreon, of course I will comment on those questions and I will share my opinion on the questions in best of my abilities during the live stream. And of course I will be engaged with the chat as I always do. Okay, sorry for this longer intro, but I had to explain why yesterday there was no live stream. So yes, that's been said, let's go through some news now. And first of all, of course, major news worldwide this moment, which is that Iran's president confirmed dead in a helicopter crash. So Iranian state media have confirmed that the president Ibrahim Raisi was killed in a helicopter crash in the northwestern province of East Azerbaijan. His entire entourage, including Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian and the governor of the East Azerbaijan province, Malek Rahmati, also were killed during this tragic incident. This was reported by Iranian press TV. The head of the state had traveled to the border region after joining Azerbaijan's president Ilham Aliyev on a Saturday to inaugurate a dam. Raisi had pledged to visit each of Iran's 30 provinces at least once a year and regularly traveled around the country. Reports of the crash landing began circulating on internet on Sunday, yesterday late afternoon, with Iranian state media citing Interior Minister Ahmad Vahidi. According to IRNA news agency, the weather was foggy in the area where the presidential helicopter is believed to have gone down. Raisi was traveling in a US-made Bell 212 low visibility helicopter, by the way. That's a US-made helicopter that Iran has since their basically Islamic Revolution. US was of course actively cooperating with the Shah before revolution took place, and that's why Iran has quite a number of Western and including US-made weapon systems, including Bell helicopters, including F-14 fighter jets, for example, and so on, F-5 fighter jets. So low visibility and impossibility of the area made the search operation difficult. Iranian news agencies reporting rescue teams launched a search operation within an hour of the incident, but adverse weather conditions hampered the process. They finally managed to locate the crash site on Monday morning with the help of Turkish surveillance drone. Many countries were, of course, trying to assist as much as possible. Turkey sent its drones, Russia sent its planes with a rescue helicopter on a board transport plane. Many other countries, by the way, Azerbaijan also stated that they are ready to provide whatever help is necessary, and many other countries. And this morning, finally, information broke out that crash site was located, and when rescuers arrived, they stated basically that no survivals on a crash site. And as I mentioned, together with Iran's president was traveling foreign minister of Iran, Hossein Amir Abdollahian, and head of province of East Azerbaijan, Malik Rahmati. And by the way, of course, there will be conspiracies now, and already are conspiracy theories that start circulating in the internet around this helicopter crash. I mean, many are looking for some connections between recent attack on Prime Minister of Slovakia, Roberto Fico, and this incident with crash of presidential helicopter, Iran's presidential helicopter. And Israel, by the way, according to Israeli media, for example, 13th channel and many others, Israel unofficially, through some close means of communication, already made it clear to a number of countries worldwide that Israeli secret services has nothing to do with this helicopter crash, and Israel is not involved in any ways, shape of form. At this point, I'm not gonna speculate because I don't know. It is, of course, strange that despite bad weather conditions, pilots made decision, or security apparatus of the Iran's president allow this flight to take place. Very strange. No matter how professional pilots are, for example, I mean, if weather conditions are extremely difficult, then of course it is better to postpone flight, obviously, because helicopters or planes, I mean, they would not be able to withstand certain conditions. Of course, questions are raised that Roberto Fico was opposing current policies of the globalists and was attacked. Threats are issued towards leader of Serbia and also leaders of the Hungary, and now this incident with the leadership, basically political leadership of Iran. But yet again, I will not speculate. I don't know if any other country, Israel, US or UK's intelligence services were involved. Anything is possible, but at this point I think it was a crash. It was just a tragic accident. But let's see what investigation will conclude. Of course, it's better always to wait for more information to become available. So Israel, as I said, already made it clear to a number of countries worldwide that they have nothing to do with the crash. This is, of course, some sort of preventive measure from government of Israel to make sure that there will be no blames towards Israel. Yet again, let's see what investigation will say. Also, by the way, when it comes to leadership of the countries worldwide, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia postponed his visit to Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, postponed his visit to Japan due to deteriorating health conditions of the King of Saudi Arabia, Salman ibn Abdul Aziz Al Saud, and maybe in relatively short time, Crown Prince will become official head of Saudi Arabia, very important country in this world, and especially, of course, in the Middle East. So, although, by the way, Crown Prince is already basically in the charge, mainly in political affairs of the Saudi Arabia and in politics, in running the country, basically. RT is also reporting that Roberto Fico's condition, Prime Minister of Slovakia, Roberto Fico's condition is no longer life-threatening. Slovakia's Deputy Prime Minister reported about it. So the conditions of Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico is no longer life-threatening. The EU country's Deputy Prime Minister Thomas Taraba has told the British state broadcaster, the BBC, there was an attempt on his life earlier this week. Of course, we all are informed about it, and let's wish quick recovery to Roberto Fico. In very short time, he definitely established himself on a geopolitical map of the, in general, and on geopolitical map of the politicians also, as a politician. So he's definitely a figure that clearly has, proved its importance. And let's go through some other news now, of course, and I will give you a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. So, as during the previous week, main direction of activities, of course, is the northern part of the Kharkov region, where Russian armed forces conducting these local-scale offensive operations to create a buffer zone in the Kharkov region on the borderline, basically, between formerly Ukrainian Kharkov region, formerly for now, and the Russian Federation. And there is two main directions, of course, of Russian these local-scale offensives. In the western flank, main axis of the offensive is Liptsi settlement, and according to reports that we are receiving from different sources, despite heavy clashes in this area, at this point there is no significant changes on a line of contact. Kyiv regime deployed significant enough number of its military personnel to basically somewhat stabilize situation around Liptsi. I guess after Russian forces will regroup, receive reinforcement, additional weapon systems and munition, we will see second wave of offensive towards Liptsi, most likely towards some other settlements also. And when it comes to eastern flank of Russian offensive operations, main direction of this offensive is, of course, Volchansk settlement, and more reports are coming in that Russian forces improving their positions in the northern part of Volchansk settlement, which is divided by Volchia River, almost in half. And also, despite the deployment of significant number of reinforcements by Kyiv regime in this area, at least for now, it seems like Ukrainian armed forces are unable to stabilize situation, like they somewhat managed to do in the Liptsi direction. And therefore, Russian forces continue their advances, and it is highly likely, according to some military experts, that in next several days, Russian forces will establish full control over their northern part of Volchansk, and their main assault operations will begin towards the southern part, although all the media outlets, all the military channels are basically acknowledging that Russian forces already are on the southern part, already are controlling certain areas in the southern part of Volchansk settlement. Foothold basically already been created. So once northern part will become under full Russian control, I guess we will see further advances of Russian forces towards north. And well, it's hard to tell how long it will take before Volchansk will become under full Russian control, but I don't think it will be more than a week or two. But let's see. So yes, this is when it comes to northern. Northern part of Kharkov region. Also, of course, one of the major directions of the Russian local-scale offensive operations are in northern flank of Donetsk sector, in Chisovyar directions, and well, already videos are circulating in internet about clashes between the Russian and Ukrainian forces inside the Canal district of the Chisovyar, which is basically separated from rest of the town by this channel, irrigation channel, and many sources are reporting that Russian forces established control almost over the 50% of the town, including this micro district canal, including these high-rise blocks. By the way, this block of high-rise apartments is under Russian control. This block of high-rise apartments partially already are under Russian control, and also these high-rise buildings in this area. And right now, according to reports that I see, Kyiv regime forces are controlling northern eastern part of this district and their industrial area. Surprising for many. This information, of course, going to be kind of surprising, because Russian forces managed to advance very rapidly inside the Canal district. So probably before end of this week, Canal district also will become under full Russian control. And dear friends, as many channels, including my channel or me, was expecting Russian forces continue their offensive operations in Klishchiivka direction, and according to some sources, Klishchiivka is under full Russian control already. Although I will take this information with slight pinch of salt. Most likely, significant majority of the area of the Klishchiivka is under Russian control, but it is highly likely that in some digouts, in some parts of the western Klishchiivka, there may be some small pockets of resistance of Kyiv regime forces, but in general, Klishchiivka, we may say, is under Russian control now. And as it was expected, due to significant progress of Russian forces in Klishchiivka area, Russian forces beginning reckoning force operations towards Avdiivka settlement. Already several reckoning force operations was conducted, and most likely before end of this week, not just Klishchiivka but also Avdiivka, officially by Russian Defense Ministry, will be declared as a liberated settlements by Russian forces from Kyiv regime. Also, by the way, in Avdiivka direction, of course, this is one of the major directions, although on the line of contact there are no crucial changes. Both sides are basically regrouping, and they're further preparing their current defense lines. I guess for Russian side now is more important to link up basically Avdiivka direction to Chisovyar direction, to Donetsk direction. Therefore, I expect significant activization of Russian operations in this area, in between let's say Bakhmut and Avdiivka, in between Bakhmut and Avdiivka sector. And we have towns in this area like New York, for example. Many of you probably hear from reportings that there is a New York town under such a name in Ukraine, and well, most likely in fairly short time New York will become one of the hotspots on a battlefield. Also, as you can see, by the way, quite a number of settlements are located in this area, and I believe Russian forces next will concentrate on this direction, because further advances on Avdiivka direction will create a large bridgehead that will need protection from the flanks. And therefore, that's why I'm saying that it seems logical to me that we should expect some activization right now in these areas towards New York, and also on the southern flank of Donetsk sector. And therefore, I expect a Krasnogorovka settlement to become under full Russian control before end of this week. And also Nivelskaya, and so Russian forces will straighten the line from Nitailova to Krasnogorovka, just to secure flanks for Russian bridgehead in Avdiivka sector. Okay, that's been said. And by the way, also we should not expect this arrow offensive operations. This is not the strategy that Russia is deploying. It's a mobile defense, and therefore, I believe it is more likely to see this increase of the pressure on Ukrainian units by local scale offensive operations from Russian side. Not some major offensives, but local scale offensive operations all along the front line, including northern part of Kharkov region. I still call this local scale offensive. This is not major offensive operation. And moreover, I expect similar local scale offensive operations to begin in Sumy and also Chernigov, Sumy and Chernigov regions. And when it comes to South Donetsk sector of the front line, of course, major hotspots here are these settlements of Urozhaina and Staromayorskaya on Vremyovsky salient area. As I said in previous updates, my understanding is that in fairly short time, both these settlements will become under full Russian control. And as it was also expected, Russian forces are conducting more and more reckoning force operations, local scale offensive operations in Gulyai-Pole direction, especially, and we should expect more and more activities of Russian forces in Gulyai-Pole direction and all along the line of contact, basically from Gulyai-Pole up to this Orekhov bridgehead, and then also towards Orekhov city itself, because after establishing control over the Rabotina settlement in Orekhov bridgehead that Russian forces did in previous couple of days, it is obvious that by these local scale offensive operations, by these small steps, Russian side will try to further increase pressure on Kiev regime forces to stretch them as much as possible, and also to create some new traps. And when I see this map, I mean, it seems obvious to me that as a trap can be used Orekhov and Orekhov direction in general, and Gulyai-Pole and this direction when it comes to Zaporizhzhia sector of the front line. And this is it for a short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. I remind you, dear friends, that if you are interested in more detailed analysis of the situation on line of contact, military channels are providing great volume of information on that in this regard. And if by chance you are not familiar with military channels, or you are new to independent media and or alternative media, under this video in description box you can see a recommendation list that I have of the channels that I follow, and you can find at least several links to military channels there that, as I mentioned, providing great volume of information on daily basis, by the way, several times a day even, all about line of contact and developments on the battlefield. So yes, that's been said. Let's continue with some additional news, and let me check time. 24 minutes. So as I announced earlier, I have adapted my programming, let's say, and to make sure that my updates are relatively short, some 30, 35, 40 minutes maybe, or the 40 minutes seems like already too long. I will divide my updates. So first, part will be available on my YouTube and Rumble channel, and second part on my Patreon page. So let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that during the nighttime, Russian air defense systems intercepted 7 Ukrainian drones over the Kursk and the Belgorod regions. No reports for this moment about casualties on the ground or more or less significant damage. And I will share with you also information about previous day when Kiev regime launched a few dozens of drones towards Russian regions, and focus of Kiev regime was Krasnodar region, where 57 Ukrainian drones were neutralized by Russian air defense systems. Yesterday, by the way, 57 drones. Yes, Kiev regime continues this constant attempts to strike deep inside Russian territory with whatever weapons they have, and unfortunately, sometime they are managing to hit. Kiev regime weapon systems are managing to bypass Russian air defense systems and hit targets on the Russian soil. Usually, Kiev regime is targeting civilians. That's what they do most of the times, unfortunately. And sometimes some industrial zones are targeted also, energy facilities and so on. Yesterday, for example, it was yesterday or day before, I read on one of the media outlets, Russian media outlets, that according to some experts, due to strikes, constant strikes on Russian refineries and oil depots and stuff, energo sector basically, in European part of Russia, Kiev regime already damaged about 14% of the capabilities of Russian oil refineries, which is significant number, of course. Although this is not official data, this is from experts. Officially, I don't think we had received any information yet on this topic. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that Defense Minister of United Kingdom stated that UK is not seeking direct military conflict with Russia. Okay, very strange statements. I mean, we get used to these statements from the Western leaders that are contradicting each other. Today they may say one thing, tomorrow another. For example, very same defense secretary and foreign minister of UK, foreign secretary, and even prime minister, if I remember correctly, they were saying that Kiev regime has all the rights and permission of the UK basically to use weapon systems that they are receiving from UK to conduct strikes deep inside Russian territory on Russian soil. And simultaneously we have this kind of statement that UK is not seeking direct military confrontation with Russia. So which one is then? You are allowing Kiev regime, you are delivering to Kiev regime weapon systems that are operated by your forces, basically by British forces in this particular case, to conduct strikes against Russian citizens, against Russia, and same time you are saying that you're not seeking direct military confrontation. I mean, these two are contradicting each other in my understanding. And dear friends, you remember that last week, isn't it, when Russian foreign minister issued severe warning to UK that if British weapon systems will be used to conduct strikes deep inside Russian territory, Russia will retaliate, not just in Ukraine, but elsewhere also, against the UK's assets. Same warning was given to France, I believe, very same day. And, well, this is a serious matter. I guess that's exactly what might happen. And Russia might retaliate at any time, anywhere. And I don't think Russia to blame for that. Russia give warnings after warnings after warnings after warnings But unfortunately, Western ruling class, including leadership of UK, is just unable to listen and understand the realities on the ground. They are living in there some virtual reality, and think that world is turning around them. They are center of the universe, but they are not. Anyways, let's continue, dear friends. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, according to reports in Western media outlets, in this particular case, Financial Times, Washington is pressing other G7 countries to give additional money to Kiev regime, credits. They call it credits now, and issue these credits, send these credits to Kiev regime on the guarantees of the frozen Russian assets and the profits of the frozen Russian assets. So Washington leadership, I mean Biden's administration, cannot stop, man, despite all the warnings from international financial institutions, including financial institutions that are under Western control, by the way, like IMF, World Bank, Central Bank of Europe, and many other professionals, many other groups of professionals, huge banks, for example, from US, Goldman Sachs, leadership of Goldman Sachs also warned Western ruling class not to steal Russian assets, not to do it because it will finally destroy whatever is left from the reputation of the Western financial and banking system or Western reserve currencies. But I mean, just look at this, man. Western ruling class, they are unable to help themselves. They build by stealing, you know. They build their wealth and influence for centuries by stealing and robbing everybody they could. And they are just on the same path. They cannot listen to other options because they don't know how to operate otherwise. They only can steal and rob and destroy. That's all they do. So let's see which other G7 countries will follow these orders of the Washington and start transferring some additional billions and billions to Kiev regime and the guarantees of frozen Russian assets. But probably, we will learn soon. Probably not many countries from the G7 club will be able to withstand pressure from Washington. I mean, all of them are basically client states at this point, isn't it? RT is reporting that Poland to shell out another 2.55 billion US dollars to beef up eastern borders. I spoke about it on my Patreon yesterday or day before, I believe. I will share with you in main update on update on YouTube and Rumble also. So yes, Poland will build a defense line along its border with Belarus and Russia. Prime Minister Donald Tusk has announced. He added that the work has already begun on the Eastern Shield. Aiming the ongoing conflict between Kiev and Moscow, the Polish leadership has repeatedly talked up the need to better defend the country against the perceived Russian threats. Last month, President Andrzej Duda, President of Poland, of course, Andrzej Duda, suggested that Warsaw would be happy to host US nuclear weapons there if asked to take a part in NATO's sharing scheme. Prime Minister Tusk was quick to downplay their idea with Moscow's warning of their countermeasures should American weapons of mass destruction appear on the border or that of its key ally, Belarus, on the border of Russia or Belarus. So speaking at the military commemorative event in Kharkov on Saturday, Prime Minister Tusk stated that Warsaw will invest 10 billion zlotys or 2.3 billion euros in the security of the border with Belarus and Russia. And dear friends, I wanted to share this information with you because I think this is a smoke screen from Warsaw. Mentioning Russia and Belarus, they are just creating smoke screen, because in reality, I believe what Warsaw is doing is allocating additional funds and preparing basically themselves Polish state institutions, including armed forces and security services, for a long-term occupation of the Western Ukraine, of the 70-80% of Western Ukraine, let's say, territory that used to be a part of Poland before Second World War. And to be able to rapidly advance on these areas, of course, Warsaw needs ground to be laid for that. And that's what exactly is happening, because they know perfectly well that no Belarus, no Russia is no threat for Poland, and none of our countries, Russia or Belarus, has any plans to conduct any military operations against any country without being provoked, if not provoked. And if Warsaw is not planning to provoke response, then, you know, they will be no threat, obviously. They know it perfectly well, and that, but still they are using Russian topic and topic of Belarus as a smokescreen to allocate more and more funds to this to preparation of the ground for occupation and then reclaiming of the parts of Western Ukraine that used to be Poland before Second World War. That's what is happening. That's why I wanted to share with you this information that I spoke about already in the second part of the update on my Patreon yesterday or day before. And a few more news, by the way. How long is this update? Already 36 minutes. Okay. RIA Novosti is reporting that Spain recalled its ambassador to Argentina, and well, diplomatic row is taking place now between the two countries because President of Argentina, Javier Milei, insulted basically wife of the Prime Minister of Spain, Sanchez, and called her Pedro Sanchez, Prime Minister of Spain, and call her corrupt person. Well, Madrid did not like it all, understandably so. And well, now another diplomatic row on the world geopolitical map this time between Argentina and Spain. I don't think Argentina is in a position to destroy relationships with the countries like, you know, left and right, like it's nothing. It's but I mean, this is very stranger individual in charge of Argentina right now, so who knows what he's gonna do next. And finally, by the way, in this first part of the news update, I will share with you this information that Russian economic growth hits 5.4%, which is big, by the way, which is really big number, especially if you take in account all those tens of thousands of sanctions at this point that was imposed on Russia by collective West, and all the other pressure. So let's go through the news. Russia's gross domestic product (GDP) grew 5.4% year-on-year terms in the first quarter of the 2024. The state statistics agency Rosstat said in a preliminary report published on a Friday. So it's big. According to estimates, Russia saw robust growth in retail turnover, increase by 10.5%, in manufacturing increase by 8.8%, and construction increase in 3.5% in January-March. So, well, good numbers, by the way, good numbers. The Rosstat data aligns with the earlier estimate from the economics ministry, but exceeds that of the Bank of Russia, 4.6% growth, and analyzes expectations 5.3%. So, well, when it comes to Bank of Russia or Russian Central Bank is always very conservative in its numbers. But still, by the way, according to Central Bank, growth was 4.6%, which is also huge, by the way. It's the biggest numbers among all the G7 countries, by the way. None of the G7 countries, for example, have these numbers when it comes to GDP growth. Some of the G7 countries are in recession. There is no growth there at all, or in technical recession. So I will end this update on this good news, by the way, for Russia and friends of Russia. That economy is doing quite okay. I mean, 4.6% or 5.4%. In any case, it's a big numbers. Obviously, it's big numbers. And well, hopefully before end of this year, this trajectory will maintain and will be maintained, and Russia will hit, I mean, 5 point before end of this year. That's maybe too optimistic, but I guess I mean, when year will pass, if economical growth will stay at least 3.5%, that would be a great result also. But who knows, maybe we will see even 4 or 5% growth. Let's see. This is it, by the way, for the first part of the today's news update. Second part, before you will finish watching or listening this part, second part already will be published on my Patreon page. So if you are subscribed, you can go straight to my Patreon. Link of my Patreon is, of course, under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. Just one click and you are there. And if you are not subscribed to my Patreon, please consider to do so. That will be great support of my work and this small media project of mine. So yes, that being said, you can also support my work if you want and if you can, by small donations through PayPal or Boosty. Links are also under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care. I will continue now recording second part of the update for Patreon. Bye for now.